Welcome everybody. I'm Dan Ross, and I run the Silicon Valley Hypnosis Center, which is here. So I obviously do hypnosis, I do use a whole bunch of other tools, and I do personal coaching as well. So what the difference between all those is, we can talk about it if you're curious, but I kind of like to lump it all under, ways of having better results in your life, having better feelings, ways of transforming, ways of getting goals, or ways of getting rid of something you don't want, right? So I have people that come in and they say, I want a better job, right? It's a goal, it's something to aspire to. Other people say, I want to lose weight. They're moving away from something. And there's actually a way that people's brains sort. Some people's brains sort moving towards something like an aspiration. Other people's brains sort more towards like, I don't want that. So anyway, I got into this about 20 years ago. I had discovered Tony Robbins. I was an engineer at the time, and I was always fascinated by how things worked. I was the kid who took apart the radio and the broken TV set and all that stuff. And that led me into engineering, because I was fascinated by how things work. And then I got fascinated by how people work after discovering Tony, because he teaches this technology about how the brain actually works, which I'm going to talk about. It'll be a big chunk of what we're going to be covering tonight, which is how the brain actually works from a software perspective. So by the way, anybody here a techie? Depends. Or recovering techie? Or knows a little bit about technology, right? There's hardware and there's software, right? So this is really how our brains are programmed. And the great thing is that we can reprogram our brains, and that's what we're going to talk about. And I'll talk about transformation. I'll define that. But anyway, I discovered Tony, and I went through his programs, and I went and studied from his teachers, and just got all excited about being able to make rapid changes with people really quickly. For example, in my very first training with his training staff to teach us how he does what he does, there was a guy who had been afraid of public speaking since he was 8 years old. He was standing up in front of the class, and he must have stuttered. Something happened, I forget the story, but his teacher made fun of him, the class laughed, and he could not speak in public after that ever again, and he was in his 30s at that point. And so they taught me this process called Change Personal History. And in 2 minutes, I was able to take him back in that situation with some powerful new resources, so he could see it in a different way. And in 2 minutes, it was gone. And I'm like, I was just hooked. Like, this is an amazing tool. I want to learn about this for myself and to apply it to others. And I started to see, the possibilities of what becomes possible when you just learn how your brain works or how somebody else's brain works, and you can change how you think about things and allow somebody to see something differently, feel something differently, really have a different experience around something that may have happened in the past or something they want to have happen in the future, whatever it is. And it just kind of became my mission to help people transform, to lead better lives. So that's really what I'm here to do tonight, is regardless of whatever happens, if we never see each other again or not, that you leave with something of value that you can take with you out into the world. Some of you may transform at least a little bit right here during the demonstrations. We'll do some group demonstrations, and we'll do some one-on-ones for those of you who really want to play. And so that's really what I'm here to do, is to give you a taste of what's possible and give you a taste of how I do it, right? There's a bunch of different ways, a bunch of different tools. I'll talk about those. So the first thing is we talked a little bit when we were just chatting casually, but I want to capture it. So what was it that brought you here? Because I want to know that by the time you've left, you've actually gotten what you came for. So I know you talked about leadership, but like, if you were to leave here with one thing that you could behave differently, believe differently, feel differently, or that's moving away from, or aspire to something, look at something differently, be motivated, what would the one thing be?
Results.
Results. And results in what context?
I would say that being results driven in every area of life, whether it's in business metrics, right, or customers, or volume, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm tempted to dig into this a little bit because this could get very coachy, but I'm gonna, and we'll save it because I just want to capture what it is. This is really results. And we're saying in every area. Okay. And what about you? What's the one thing you would like to leave with tonight?
Well, like you said, if we never see each other again, maybe I at least learn something that I can carry away and use to practice in my daily life.
Okay, so
I read books and
take something with you.
different things like that, and maybe 300 pages in a book, and I may get one thing out of it, but that one thing is huge sometimes.
Okay, so one thing, and what would the one, like if you could get that one thing, what would that be? Like if I had the magic wand here,
Well, that's
and
up to you.
and I could wave it, well, so think of me like.
I don't have one thing. I have many things, but I'm looking for the one thing you are going to give that will apply to my many things.
So let me explain a metaphor here a little bit. I think of myself as the taxi driver, right? So you get in the car and I say, where would you like to go, right? I can't take you there if you don't know where you want to go.
Oh no, I know
Yeah.
where I want to go.
So
But
if you could get that one thing, what in your life would be different?
my daily life would be different if I could
Daily life would be different
get,
in terms of behaviors, feelings,
yes.
more X or less Y. What? So
Well,
give me a
you're
sense.
You're talking about you have an individual that sometimes wants to reach for something and ones that want to let go of something.
Yeah.
I actually have both. I want to let go of some things and I want to gain some things.
Okay.
So, I'm a complicated mess.
A complicated mess.
Yeah.
TM. So I think we'll hold that thought a little bit because there's often something that stops people. So there's a couple things that prevent people from getting what they want. There's not knowing what you want, which is my guess a little bit about what's going on. And that's like when we're doing a coaching engagement, that can be the first thing. Because sometimes people come in and they say, I want to make 25% more money next year. I want 150 more clients next year. I want, something like that. It's very specific.
Oh, I could give you a list.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
all I'm asking for is just one.
Just one.
Yeah.
I guess to finally start my own business.
Finally start your own business. Okay.
Good system.
So that's sort of step one. We've gotten over the basic hurdle. So not knowing what you want can be one thing that can prevent people from getting what they want. And then often it's something that stops them, which is usually some kind of fear, which shows up in all sorts of different ways. And fear itself, nothing to fear but fear itself, can be,
There's somebody coming in.
hi, welcome, come on in.
Somebody on late work.
So welcome, have a seat. And I'm Dan, and we're kind of underway. We're just getting started. I'm figuring out, asking people what brought them here so that when they leave, they know that they've gotten something of value. So, but I won't get right to you because I'll give you a chance to get settled. So fear can show up in a bunch of different ways, but often it's something that just people are stopped. They kind of don't know why, or they take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, right? So, and for starting a business, that's kind of a big thing, right? And often people do a little bit of work and then they'll find that they're not doing the things they need to be doing. It can happen with all sorts of different things. In fact, I'll get to that a little bit when I get into what stops people from transforming in a little more detail. So, but thank you for that. So finally starting your own business.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
That's one. You asked for one.
Absolutely, yeah. And then again, if we were coaching, we would go deeper into clearly defining that. There's a process called the well-formed outcome process that is one of the first things I do with people to capture what it is they're trying to achieve. And a couple of those questions, what specifically, things like that, come from that, because it's really to get to the heart of the matter. So, but thank you. And then, remind me of your name again?
My name is Arif.
Arif?
I actually signed up for an event a couple of months, about 2 months ago for here, but then I got so busy with my work that I wasn't able to attend.
It happens. Yeah.
And at that point, I just recently got this job in March, so I just wanted to keep it as going as much as possible.
Okay.
One thing I want to work on is I feel like I'm slightly on the attractive side, but yet I can't seem to get into a relationship.
Okay.
Like I've never really had like a girlfriend, but it has to do with the stiff personality, I think.
Okay.
A little bit stiffer than I'm not as laid back and kind of cheerful and that's kind of could be.
Okay. So you want to get into a relationship. And I'm just going to make a note here because there is a whole, essentially, module of coaching that I do with some people around kind of loosening up, right? So one of the things I learned in my travels and studies is something called calibration, which is how to read people. And if we have time, we'll get into that. So remind me, because I want to be sure I'm of service to you. Now, it could be a bunch of other things, but that's just...
There's someone out here.
Okay. Hi, come on in.
Sorry. Archie.
Hi, Dan. I got your note. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, and what was your name?
Jamfina, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I didn't interrupt you.
No problem.
Why am I here? There's always room for improvement. I feel like my life is kind of stagnant. It's stuck. I am in the real estate business. My business is not going anywhere. I've been in it for 13 years, and yet I don't seem to be making enough income to be able to live the kind of lifestyle I want. It's helter-skelter, and I don't seem to have the ability to get into the relationship of my dreams either. I meet people, have a relationship for a while, it breaks up because they're another good match, or we're not a good match for each other. And I've been evaluating, should I really be having my own business, and have decided, I really just want to have a regular job Monday through Friday, do my real estate kind of casually if I want to and when I want to. And I've been looking for jobs and haven't found a job that I want either. I keep getting interviews, so it's not like my phone isn't ringing, it's ringing. So basically, I feel like I'm going around in a spiral that seems to be getting me nowhere.
Okay, so hamster wheel a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So let me summarize it back to you. You are looking to transition out of doing real estate full-time into a part-time thing,
Yeah.
and
Getting
to
a
find
full-time job.
a full-time job, yeah. Doing real estate or doing something else?
Well, it can be related to real estate, but I want it to be more of a, not really sales oriented, more in a support role.
Okay, great.
So, yeah.
Archie, what brings you here? So, so you missed the speech, so I'll give I did the long version, the short version, and the shortest version is I just want to be sure that for all of you who came here, you walk away with something of value, and
Right.
it's useful for me to kind of know so that I can teach to what people came for.